a combination of strategies. We know a zero trick. Okay, first of all, you don't need your markers yet, so just leave those down. We have a couple of problems, A and B, that it looks to me like we could use the zero trick on. Now remind me what the zero trick is. Anything times 10 add a 0 to the end. And then when you're dividing, anything divided by 10, take a 0 off the end. Okay, now, looks to me like these first two, A and B, we might be able to use that strategy. So that's why I said there's going to be a combination of strategies on this paper, okay? So if I'm going to add a 0 to the end of 54,000, let's write down what we'll come up with. Save your comma for the end, please. Okay, so then I have 1, 2, 3, comma. How do you say that number, Cheney?
500,000 for
540,000. Good. Now, when you see that comma, you're going to say a place value. 1,000 is what you're going to say right now, okay? All right, let's do the next one. Anything divided by 10, take a 0 off the end. Well, I didn't cross it off very well. So now you're going to write 5400, then figure out where the comma goes. 1, 2, 3, comma. Were you my lovely assistant yesterday, Vaughn?
Huh?
Were you my lovely assistant yesterday? So you guys remember we pointed to those numbers and then placed the comma, okay? All right, how do I say this? 5,400. I like that strategy best. It's the least amount of work for me, okay? So whenever I can use it, I do. All right, let's look at C and D. C and D, we can't do that on because they're not whole numbers. 8.7, 8 7/10 is not a whole number. So we're going to do it both ways. We're going to do it on the place value chart. That's why I gave you one. And we're also going to do it with the decimal trick. Now, where would be a good place to put our decimal trick?
In the bottom,
Like right here? Okay. So I'm going to place my decimal trick right there. I want you to write it there also. And we'll get this all set up. Now, I know it's easy to get confused because the decimal trick is opposite of the place value chart. That's why we're doing them both for a while, and thank you for being patient while everyone gets it figured out in their minds. Okay, 8.7 on your place value chart. I happen to have one right here. Okay, now, what is the problem that we're trying to work? Times 10? Is that what it says? Okay. So times 10, slide my digits to the left, 1 place value, write times 10 on there. What do we have for an answer?
87.
87. So go back to your paper, write 87 on there. And now we're going to try the decimal hop. So over to the side, out of the way, or at the very top, you're going to write 8.7. Good job. And then the decimal trick says when I multiply, move the decimal to the right. Okay? So how many place values for 10?
1.
1. So my decimal ends up, and 87 is my answer. Okay? All right, let's do the next one. 8.7 divided by 10. Go back to your place value chart. You could just erase what you need to now that you have a dry erase marker. Or you can just start over. Okay, and if I divide by 10, what do I do here?
Go to the left.
Go to the right, 1 place value. Am I dividing by 10?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now I have, what is that number?
87.
87 what?
Zeros.
Hundreds. And somebody said we need to put a 0 in there.
Yep.
So when we write it, we'll put a 0, okay? So go back. We're going to write 87 hundredths, 0.87, and then we're going to try our decimal trick and see if it works. Did it work?
Yep.
Okay, so decimal trick says when I divide, move the decimal to the left. So move the decimal to the left, one place value. Do I end up with 87 hundredths?
Yes.
But I need the 0. Okay, so I'm going to pause it for just a minute. Okay, let's take a look at E. So that says 13 hundredths times 100. So take your place value chart. Get 13 hundredths on there. And in fact, it does have a 0 in the front. Now I don't want you to have that 0 confuse you though, because you're not going to need it for long. So if I'm taking it times 100, I know I'm going this way. I'm going to go ahead and erase that 0 so it doesn't mess me up. Okay? So times 100, how many place values? 2. Times 100. What do you end up with as your answer? 13. Okay, let's see what we got here. I'm going to go ahead and write 13. Now you're going to, on the bottom of your place value chart, hop the decimal with me. Okay? So the decimal hop, I need to start with this number. So everyone write 13 hundredths on the bottom of your place value chart. And when you hop the decimal hop says when I multiply, hop it to the right. How many places?
2.
1, 2. And then you can take your little eraser, can't you? And erase. And what do I get for an answer? 13. Same one. Okay? When we get down to G and H, we're going to try it without the place value chart. Okay? So 13 divided by 1,000. Put that on there. Come on, get it on there. Divided by 1,000, how many place values? 3. Move it down. What do I write on the arrow, Vaughn?
Divided by 1,000.
Very good. Then I move my 1 over. What do I need to fill in with?
0.
Actually, 2 of them, right? Okay. So I'll write 0.013, and then I'll figure out how to say it. 0.013. Dora, how do you say that number?
13,000?
I saw her eyes. She did great. She said she knew it was 13, so she looked up here and found the word thousands. Okay? All right, so let's try putting 13. Oh, it's already there, isn't it? 13 on the bottom of your place value chart, and we're going to hop the decimal. The decimal trick says move the decimal to the left when you divide. How many places?
3.
3. 1, 2, 3. Did it work?
Yeah.
It did.
What you need another?
But I need another 0. Okay? So we're going to try G and H with just the trick. Are you ready for this? Okay, so at the bottom of your place value chart, write down 3.12. Who knows how to say that? 3 and, just say it for me.
3 and 12 hundredths.
Wow, that was really good. Okay, and we're multiplying times 1,000. Decimal trick, look at it. It says when I multiply, move the decimal to the right. How many places?
3.
Okay, which way is right? 1, 2, 3. Place the decimal. Do I need to fill in with anything? Are you sure? Looks to me like I need something right there.
0.
Yeah, I do. I need a 0. Okay, now how many of you feel the need to check it on the place value chart? We can. So the answer is 3,120. Is that what you got for your answer?
Yes.
Okay. Let's try the next one. Ooh, that's a long number. 4,031.2. 4,031 and 2/10. Write that down. 4,031 and 2/10. Now we're dividing by what?
100.
How many place values is that?
2.
And the decimal trick says when I divide, move the decimal to the left. So 2 place values. Watch me. 1, 2. So the decimal ended up between what 2 numbers? 0 and 3. How do you say that answer?
40.
40 and 300.
312,000.
Very good. 40 and 312 thousandths. Okay? Now, am I ever going to say, please don't use your place value chart?
Yep.
Probably not. Because if you're wanting to use it, I'm going to assume it's not just to use your markers, but it's because you really need it. Okay? So don't ever feel like you can't come and get a place value chart. I want to show you another strategy to do on the place value chart. Okay? So you don't have to write this, but I want to do this problem we just did. It was 4,031 and 2/10. Now all of you put your pencils and your markers down and watch what I'm going to do. I have to divide by 100. Decimal trick says when I divide, move it to the left. Could I use the place value chart to do my decimal trick? I could. But I've got to be careful when I do that because you can't look at the place values up above it. You just have to look at the digits. Okay? But that's another way to use your place value chart. Okay, let's go back down to these. These look fun to me. You already did it? How'd you do it so fast? Just added zeros to the end. Okay, so you get those written down and then we're going to check the placement of your commas. Don't put your commas in until you get them written down. So on the first one, how many zeros do I add?
1.
Now you know they're trying to confuse you by having the number end in a 0. Okay, do you remember earlier in class I said, whenever I put that comma down, I'm going to say the word thousand. Can you look up here for just a minute, please? Okay, so this would be 193,400. Okay, do the next one. How many zeros will you add to this one?
2.
And you don't need your markers right now, you're just using pencils. 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. Now, Beverly, do you think I'm going to say the word thousand with the first comma?
No.
No. What place value am I in?
Million.
Okay, so I'll say millions, then thousand. Okay? Million, then thousand. So everybody say it with me. 1,934,000. Okay. Add how many zeros?
3.
3. So you'll have a total of 4, won't you? 2 commas again. 1, 2, 3, place a comma. 1, 2, 3, place a comma. Okay, so we're going to say million and thousand.
19.
Okay, everybody say it with me. 19,340,000. Okay, explain how you decided on the number of zeros in the products for A, B, and C.
Because Add a 0 to the end.
You add a 0 to the end? Sort of. Sometimes you add more than one 0. So here's what I want you to remember. Did I tell block 3 what these numbers are called? Powers of 10. They're called powers of 10. And the number of zeros you add depends on which power of 10 it is. Okay? So if it's a power of 10 to the third, which is 1,000, you'll add 3 zeros. And that's going to be the next lesson. Okay? But could I say the powers of 10 determine the number of zeros you add to the end? Could I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's write it. The powers of 10 determine the number of zeros you add. So it still rhymes. Anything times a power of 10, you will add zeros to the end. Okay? So your powers of 10, 10, 100, 1,000. What else do you think is a power of 10? 10,000? 100,000? 1 million? Oh, and there's a ton of them, aren't there? Yeah, we'll stop at millions. Okay, let's see what's on the back of this problem set. Okay, on this one, we can't use the 0 trick.
The power of 10.
We can't use the powers of 10 trick. Why?
Because the division doesn't have 0 on it.
Right, and this is the first number in the division problem, right. It has to have a 0 on the end so I can cross it off. Because when you divide, you cross off zeros. Okay? So on these, we're going to have to use the decimal trick. You want to give it a try?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to see if my paste still works. Oh, almost. It almost worked, didn't it? Okay, you write your decimal trick down because you're going to need it. I'm going to put it right here. So what number am I going to write on the bottom of my place value chart?
152.
152.
The decimal operator.
And we're dividing, so my decimal trick says move the decimal to the left. Where's my decimal now? After the,
2.
Junior, I need to know you're listening. So I'm going to move it how many place values? So I've got 15.2 for my answer. Well, do you think you could do the rest of it?
Yep.
How can you do it so fast?
Decimal trick.
Decimal trick?
Already did it.
You already did it? Okay, so if I'm going to do the decimal trick again on 100, what am I going to do with my decimal that time? Move it again, right? Isn't that 2 place values? Did you get 1.52?
Yes.
1 and 52 hundredths. And then you're a step ahead of me now, aren't you?
Yep.
If I'm going to move it again,
0.152.
152 what? 152 thousandths, okay? So this one's a little different. It says, explain how you decided where to place the decimal in the quotients for A, B, and C. Did the decimal appear to move 1 place value to the left each time?
Yes.
That's what we're going to write then, okay? Now the decimal, we know the decimal didn't move. But we moved it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I moved the decimal. One place value. To the left. Did I say right earlier? I move the decimal one place value to the left
Each time?
each time. I was going to say for each power of 10, but I'm not going to make you write that much.
The decimal trick is much easier.